Hey everyone, welcome back. As we get closer to the end of April of 2023, a lot of fans are really getting anticipated for the Ahsoka Tano series for two major reasons. This is a Dave Filoni written project, the first Star Wars show that was written consistently by Dave Filoni episode by episode, and number two, this series in particular had zero Kathleen Kennedy input into it, so it should be a very interesting series to see exactly where it goes. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, the past couple of months we know that Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, has been in a constant shakeup with the Disney executives, the board members, you name it, in order to really settle Star Wars and to really bring it in a specific path. Now, one thing that he recently did had a lot to do with clearing the overall slate of the Star Wars franchise and exactly where it's all going related to the movies, etc. And this is something that I think is very important for fans to come to realize, that Disney is now fully dedicated to course-correcting the franchise as much as they can. Will they be able to accomplish that is another question, right? I know a lot of fans remain skeptical to this day. Other fans remain very hopeful and optimistic, as am I. So there's a lot of things to explore in the franchise and a lot of opportunities for creators like Filoni, Favreau, Gilroy to take over and to really adapt. So let's get right down to this. Now, we know that Bob Iger is, of course, everything what fans should expect him to be, is that he's trying to leave a footprint behind, right? Really trying to leave behind a legacy and everything related to the Star Wars universe. So, with that being said, with Disney and Lucasfilm preparing to right-size their slate of Star Wars projects at the roadmap, Disney CEO Bob Iger has been making drastic changes during the process, of course. Just recently, Bob Iger canceled a full slate of Star Wars movies that may come across as a big surprise to the fandom in order to course-correct the franchise. Bob Iger recently canceled a full slate of Kathleen Kennedy-driven products and movies that were in the limbo stage over at Lucasfilm, and that these cancellations were done in order to make way for the Rey movie, Dave Filoni's movies, Dawn of the Jedi, and the upcoming Old Republic films, in order to turn Star Wars into an annual film release schedule. The films that were cancelled that Kathleen Kennedy greenlit consisted of High Republic movies, one of which was, of course, described to be a spin-off of The Acolyte as well, that was supposed to debut from Disney Plus in the future. They also, of course, involved a spin-off movie in relation to Rian Johnson's failed trilogy project that was going to be a big deal to Kathleen Kennedy, that Iger decided to write off the roadmap just this month in order to also clear the way. Lastly, other films that were wiped off the slate entirely involve films that were going to focus on the skeleton crew and the pirate gangs. Now, let me just stop right here for one moment, is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy originally had her own idea of making Mandoverse movies, because Skeleton Crew is a Mandoverse project. She had her own idea to bring the Skeleton Crew and the pirate gang onto the big screen. I honestly don't believe it would have done well. Something like that, I believe, is way too early to kind of just say, let's do this immediately. And again, it's another prime example of how Kathleen Kennedy always just jumps to conclusions, right? She is the one who, by the way, initiated Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy 2 whole months before The Last Jedi even arrived in theaters. She's also the one that initiated other projects before they even, of course, released. And that really just goes to show you that spin-offs and giving projects to other creators before they even established their Star Wars material goes to show you how misguided Kathleen Kennedy really is, and how maybe she's a little overconfident. In fact, I would go as far as say way overconfident when it comes to the creators that she has chosen before in the past. So it is interesting, and I think it's a breath of fresh air that Bob Iger decided to do this, decided to clean the slate of the Star Wars movies, to open up slots for Dave Filoni's films, and I say films, plural, because Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie is going to be basically a gateway to a Star Wars trilogy, basically, that focuses on the Mandoverse era, aka the age of the New Republic, alright? And John and Dave just confirmed today through EW that basically their Star Wars film is going to be a mashup of everything that you see in Ahsoka, Mandalorian seasons 1 through 4 and beyond, as well as other Star Wars projects within that Mandoverse scape, right? So overall, continuing on, now, Bob Iger knew that all of these projects would have been flops and would have only costed them hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue loss, not to mention more fan division, and is now instead focusing on delivering Star Wars Legends content to the theaters post-Episode 9 material as well as brand new and Mandoverse-era movies that will cater to all fans alike. Iger is still working out the Old Republic movies right now with John and Dave, as they are still trying to get Matt Reeves on as a main writer, and are figuring out his schedule with the Batman 2. Kathleen Kennedy, at no surprise, reportedly reacted in an aggressive way at the recent decision that many Disney executives came to meet to clean the overall slate of Star Wars movies. Now let's just be clear about this, is that I love the idea of Star Wars movies coming back. I don't know about you guys, as much as I love the shows, and yeah, we've had a couple of bumps in the road when it came to the Star Wars shows, I will admit that, but the anticipation, the excitement is a different animal when it comes to Star Wars movies. There's just something about it that, to me at least, I don't know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me on this, but the movies seem more legitimate. The fact that it's out there in public, it's in a place, you get to watch it with other people, other fans. It has the opportunity to make a big box office, a lot of revenue build up for the company to make other movies. There's just something about the movies that I feel have more opportunities to enhance the experience, number one, because it has a bigger budget, and number two, it gives the company, in this case Disney and Lucasfilm, bigger opportunities to continue on based on ticket sales and repeat ticket sales, depending on how well the story is told. Whereas Disney Plus, they are strictly relying on subscriptions, which is why they can't go on a super high budget with a lot of these Star Wars projects. They do have a cap, they do have a limit, and stuff around those lines. So that's just my take on things. I'm not saying that The Mandalorian is awful or anything like that, even though I do believe that Mando Season 3 was really only all engaging up until the last 2 episodes, to be quite honest. So overall, there's a lot of work that they have to go through and a lot of different avenues that they have to take to really get things right. Again, we've talked about this, about how the executives feel the Ahsoka series is a make or break situation for Star Wars. They have to make sure that this show performs very well, and that's exactly why they did not have Kathleen Kennedy involved at all. Zero. It's all Dave Filoni, with a little bit of Jon Favreau coming to his aid, but it's really a Filoni strict project. And if you guys liked the Ahsoka episode in Mando Season 2, and if you guys liked the Luke Skywalker episode in Book of Boba, you most likely are going to really enjoy the Ahsoka Tano series, because that was all Dave Filoni. So overall, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.